So, thank you very much, colleagues. That was a very nice and warm welcome from your side. Also, welcome to those of you who are behind the screens. So, welcome also to the different locations. This time we are sending out at 3 p.m. Next time we promise we will change the time zone to in the morning so that everyone will be available and can watch our news. So, welcome to our first automotive webcast, live here from Frankfurt in Germany. Today we will have 4 presenters, and after the presenters are done and through, you will have the possibility to raise your questions. In the audience, you can have the possibility to raise the question live. If you prefer to do this a little bit more silent, we have also a tool called Slido, which the ones in the webcast can see now in the screen, the address and also the passcode, how to insert your questions. The other possibility is also, if you like a question, you can vote the question up. So we will bring these questions, hopefully at the end of the automotive webcast, to the different presenters. So, I would like to welcome now 4 members of the automotive board, which have a really powerful voice, I would say. So, welcome Nico Setzer, spokesman of the automotive board.
Thank you.
We have Frank Jordan from the Chassis and Safety Division. Also Frank, welcome. And there's no chassis without interior, so Helmut Matschi is also here, so welcome Helmut. And to complete the picture, we have also Dirk Abendroth with us joining today, who represents the CTO organization. So welcome, Dirk. So Nico, you were always famous with the sentence, tire business is people business. And I'm really curious about what do you say after almost 60 days about the species of automotive?
I saw a lot of people, I have to admit. So as you can imagine, after 20 years tires, I knew a lot of the organization and I knew a lot of our products, a lot of our processes behind. Coming now to automotive, so I've seen it always as a partner. Now being part of it, I can say lots of new things which I have seen, lots of new information which is getting to me, and lots of very nice people who are patient to tell me what is important on the automotive side.
Okay, so I think we should not waste any more time. So let's get started with the automotive part from your side. Here's the clicker, and then we start.
All right, thank you. I mean, short introduction already. You heard 20 years I've been in tires, so I started in research and development as a trainee. I tested tires, developed them, and then the next 10 years I have been in key account management. I sold tires to the automotive industry. I presented it and sold it there. This is as close as you can get from tires to the automotive business. So that at least qualified me for a certain part when it comes to customer and sales and understanding what is behind. The rest of the 10 years I spent in the executive board representing the tire division, which was then founded, so to say, in 2011 after your PLT division. And I've been very close to the automotive business. And for me, honestly, tires is over now. It was until 31st of this year, rubber sticks, as we say, but this is over now. I'm an automotive guy, and I'm really excited and happy to be a team member and be part of the team and shape the future. And what can be better to shape the future than starting the first webcast on our way to 2020 and beyond of the new automotive organization. Looking in times, in business times, yes, there could have been, let's say, easier times to move. There are no easy times in our business. We should be all aware. Each time has its difficulty. However, right now, looking into the market environment, the development of automotive as well as of the global scope is a very difficult one. So we have seen Q3 last year, third quarter, was the first quarter in 10 years where the automotive industry was going backwards. So the light vehicle production was going year over year down, following in fourth quarter, and as well the first quarter, we have seen reduced and scaling down vehicle production on the globe. This is a difficult situation for us, no doubt. We cannot escape of this situation. We have been slightly better than this vehicle production, but still negative in growth within automotive in the first quarter. At the same time, we have our order intake to be executed. We have our investments invested, and we need to ramp them up now. We have to launch our new product in order to secure our future and make this happen. This is obviously a very difficult task. What we got to do is, on the one hand, strict cost discipline, making sure that we use our energy as efficient as we can, knowing that we have always limited resources. On the one hand, on the other hand, strengthen our collaboration, make use out of areas which we are doing commonly, join forces wherever it's beneficial in order to make this happen and secure the viability of our business and the viability of our results. So the realignment which comes now might be seen as something on top. We should see it as something which helps us exactly in this way in order to get a better company for the future. So the overall goal, maximizing value, which is nothing else than value creation, trying to create as much value for us in new automotive as well as for Continental as a corporation. And the major scheme, why this change come, what is the goal, is empowerment. Empower the new automotive organization means the executive board has decided to delegate certain responsibility. I say certain because we are still part of a family. There is still an executive board which approves areas which we are doing. I come to this in a sec. But to empower and delegate certain tasks to the new automotive, to give more independence and making sure that we can faster taking decisions, we react more agile, and we react commonly once we are coming to the executive board. So if there's any request from us to the executive board, we have aligned ourselves as a team and used the full power of new automotive. One common scheme is a little bit difficult sentence: balanced leverage synergies versus fostered dedication, where most value accretive. You have to read this 5 times in order to understand. But to me, this is the overarching scheme from all the reorganizational thought process which I saw in the last 8 weeks as a member of the automotive team, as well the months before as being a tire guy watching what happens within the SHAPE project and Unite. On all areas, I mean, this company exists since long. We have lots of knowledgeable people, but everywhere we had to ask ourselves, where should we join forces, bring teams together, commonly make use in order to generate benefits? And where do we see where full dedication, being in projects, being close to views, being close to customers, makes us more efficient? There are very few digital answers. The easy ones we already have. We did that in the past. If it's obvious, everybody can do it, and we did it in the past. So in each area, you keep in mind, we had lots of teams. We looked really into details, discussed. It is not that easy. However, we believe we found now the best setup, and we go for the future. But keep in mind, there's nothing more sure than change. So this process might be adapted over time. Wherever we see it's more beneficial to go to the rest, we will do it immediately, or to keep it to the right. So the organizational structure as of January 1st. So you see Continental Group on the first layer, and underneath the 3 pillars, rubber technologies, automotive technology, and powertrain, carved out January 1st on the one side. And we will focus here, obviously, on the middle side to look more or focus in precisely. You see the major change to the past. We had 3 divisions, powertrain is up. We had 2 divisions, and now we have 1 team. Nicole said there is no interior without chassis. This is even more true for the future because it's under one umbrella, automotive technologies, with CTO technology, with Dirk's department, so to say, in the middle, helping the whole area in order to get technologies up to speed. And underneath you see the central automotive functions. So there is a change. There are not 2 divisions anymore. It's one common automotive technology, which means we need as well a common automotive board. And this automotive board should support the entities in between. AMS, the new term of chassis safety, autonomous mobility and safety. Frank will go into more detail. Helmut later on with regard to vehicle networking and information, and the CT organization. And the central functions are obviously as well in the inner circle. So not showing all the entities and all the functions are in between, and the automotive board handles that part and is the umbrella. What's the role of the automotive board? We got this question several times because it has not existed before, but there's a good reason, because new automotive has not existed before tire technologies. What is so lots of sentence, just the bullet points which are important, and one of the most important is the first one, automotive business strategy. So having now a commonality, a common group or a sector, we need obviously as well a common strategy, which is based on what we have in the business unit. Business units do their strategies, the business areas, the functions do their strategies, and we have the umbrella on top. So we will develop commonly with the team, with the markets, an automotive business strategy and roll this out over time. We are empowered, have more responsibility for planning and budgeted purposes. Investments, divestments, which have been so far mainly decided on corporation, on continental level, will then be up to a certain threshold decided within automotive. Same holds true for HR, leadership positions, personal policies, and so on, will be decided there as well on the board, and the legal and corporate framework and governance. We have already announced beginning of April the 4 members of the automotive board. We announced that we will nominate for HR and for finance, and obviously you see on the charts there is highly finance and HR involved. Board members, we have added 1 additional board membership. Why? And we have discussed this as a team. If we are doing an automotive strategy on a common business and a business strategy on that level, we need to involve our customers. Our strategy must start with what are the customer needs of tomorrow, what are those of today, and how to cope with it. So we have to start with customer and sales in order to go through and discuss within organization what to do with it. That's why we have decided, beside, Frank Jordan, Helmut Macchi on the left and on the right, responsible for the different business areas, to include Thomas Eller into the board with automotive sales. Another change, the name was Come in the Future, but in order to align on the one hand with industry terms, on the other hand with the term which is used elsewhere in the company, we decided to change this to automotive sales. On the other hand, you see Dirk Abendroth, CTO, you see him later on as well. Katharina Rath was nominated for the HR position in the executive board, in the automotive board, excuse me, which she does on top of her responsibility for the CTO organization, and same holds true for Harald Stuhlmann, who does this on top or in addition to his function as leading finance and controlling of chassis safety and later on AMS, and both should secure that on the one hand the input of those functions is given into the automotive board, on the other hand what has decided, standard systems, common standards and common TMOD, for instance, over the sectors and the entities, the business areas should be ensured. Beside those 3 names, you see them above, so the automotive board here with the different functions just horizontal, and you see underneath the automotive functions, which have been already known, added here in terms of dotted line, Harald Stuhlmann and Katharina Rath to me as spokesman in terms of their function within the automotive board. We have decided once we have a common strategy for automotive and we have a new entity, we need as well an automotive communication, which makes sure that the entities underneath the business areas are aligning their strategies, are in line with what we communicate as a whole. We cannot allow to have individual strategies which are maybe then contradicting each other. That's where we have nominated Nicole Ornion. She will head this automotive communication and make sure that the strategy over the sector is aligned. One item looks like a complicated chart, but you have seen it before, you will see it more often with some additions. Very important to me, I focus strongly on the automotive board and the importance of it. But this is just one board within this new entity. And this is not an entity which decides everything and so on. This is still, we are a very, very complex and diverse company. Trust me, I realize this now after 60, 80 days. It is very difficult to understand who calls the shots where and how to do this efficient. It is by far more complex than this easy tire business, I can tell you this one. Which means that you need all organizational bodies which are collaborating, and those meetings hierarchies are well set up. You have the BU management teams, the BU meetings calling their shot for the BUs. You have the MBMs, the management meetings of the business areas, of the CTO. You have the automotive central functions meeting, which is my meeting, so to say, with the central functions. I come to the 2 parts on the right button in a second. And on top, as overarching ABM, I have already referred, there was and there are still the automotive management meeting. This is the meeting where all those functions are coming together, the head of the BUs, the business areas, CTO functions, or technical functions, the automotive center, as well as the key automotive markets are represented. So that we have the whole holistic team of our automotive management there taking decisions, discussing common schemes, and discussing strategies going forward in the future. Underneath, as I already mentioned, you have not seen IT or quality before in those central functions on the charts. There's one simple reason that both functions here, as well as those owning or the heads of those functions, are within corporate. So Christoph Hagedorn, responsible for corporate automotive, Christian Eichler, responsible for corporate IT. They are a full member within their functions responsible for the automotive part here in our teams. They are a full part in our automotive central functions meeting. They are simply reporting in the corporate structure. That's why you have not seen them before. So far from my side. Now, as said, we will work down within the different areas and start with Frank and autonomous mobility and safety, who will explain us what is new over there. Frank, floor is yours.
Thanks, Nico. First, you see things which changed and things which stayed stable. The name is different. Chassis and safety turns into autonomous mobility and safety. Our vision statement is unchanged. Safe and dynamic driving towards Vision Zero. That's not changing with the title over there. We had a long discussion on the name. There have been different proposals: autonomous driving and safety, RDS. Maybe not. The reason for autonomous mobility is leaves the door open for mobility solutions. I mean, there will be services also possible in the former chassis in the future, which are around the autonomous mobility or autonomous transportation or AHGVs in plants. So there's different things we might look at in the future on top of our core business. Right now we focus on our core business. The markets are bad and everything is, it needs focus and needs budget achievement. But now to the changes. There's no change in the setup of the business units. Helmut will later explain, and you saw it on the chart from Nico, that there will be some changes in the interior. Our products are relatively stable in themselves. They're not getting integrated. I mean, a brake system might go from 2 box to 1 box, but it's still a brake system. It stays in brake systems. The electronics and interior there, Helmut will explain it better than me. So he has needs which we do not have in our business unit structure. That's why that is left as it is. You know, in the past, not too long ago, we changed ADAS. So we put the functional engineers from S&D, 150 engineers, into ADAS, and we put the electronics group with Tudek and all those guys into ADAS. Now ADAS is the full system. And with that, I think there's also no change in ADAS necessary. What we changed, that's not just a change in chassis, we changed that all over automotive. We decided that the plants will directly report to the business units. That does not mean that there's no CEP, it will have a different name. We need a central manufacturing group which takes care of electronic front-end standards in manufacturing, footprint planning, and. But we wanted to get the operational unit closer to the business unit. So the plant, which does the work, closer to the business unit where the engineering and everything is. And that is the setup. I want to just quickly go into the changes for RMS, or currently chassis and safety. They're not as big as they are with interior because we already had most plants in our business units. But you see here that in PSS, the plant in Bangalore, India, as well as Timisoara, will in the future report into the business unit PSS. And you can see in VED that the plant Budapest in Hungary will report in the future in the business unit VED. And ADAS, there's a plant which is not even existing yet. We have Seguin. Seguin is with the carve out of powertrain, 22 powertrain plant, and there's huge growth in Seguin. for all business, also for powertrain is growing heavily, and others is further growing in North America. So we decided with the carve out already that we need another plant there. So there will be a Siglin 2, and that will be a pure ADAS plant. So this plant will also report once it's built to ADAS. Okay. So those are the changes on the manufacturing side. Now, S&T. What we decided is that we will bundle all S&T activities of the current divisions and corporate S&T into one powerful S&T organization, and how that will look, then Dirk will explain in detail. We already have a lot of cross work between the S&Ts and those projects. See you here, project house automated driving. If you look at the people working at the project house, they come not only from interior, they come also from powertrain. We have from our Contitech guys, in the tire guys. So there's a lot of, just one project, one example. We have a lot of projects where it makes total sense to put them together in one group, which is above the business areas. So that's what we will do. There are some content in our current chassis S&T which make no sense to put central. For example, and that's smaller exceptions, just that it's understood. For example, brake system calculation. We do brake system layout and calculation for our customers, and that goes together with HPS and VED, and we will move that in HPS or VED. That move will come. Yeah? We have a central release system for our drawings and stuff like that. We put that in S&T because it fits there, central. That will also stay somehow. We find a home for that in the division. So there will be some smaller exceptions, but there's really smaller things which are clearly to the business unit work related. But everything which you would say advanced development and research is clearly going then joining forces with the colleagues from interior and corporate. What we will also do, and this is one of to me of the most important subjects, I work on that since 2 years in the division chassis and safety, to have one way of developing our product. I mean, we have all the same PLC and MLC, you know. I mean, that is the standard process up there is the same, but if you go into the details, it's totally different. There's even different language spoken. I mean, I was totally amazed. You go in VED, they talk about saves. And I say, what saves? Others, what's that? Or we have tickets, PSS issues. Yeah, I mean, they're all the same, different language. The language comes a little bit with a tool. They all have different tools. So we want to have one tool set, one methodology. We all do embedded software. It's not something totally different we do. It's all embedded software. So we can live with a similar, same tool chain. And that has to be established, and not only for chassis, for whole automotive, for chassis and interior to begin with, but I think the powertrain colleagues are very interested in participating. So this activity will also move to Dirk to make sure that we will establish one PMT for automotive. Now, what I said in the beginning, there was no need and there is no need right now to change the BU structure in chassis and safety, or in the future then in AMS. We had another business unit before, chassis components, that was taken care of. Is vehicle dynamics. We built a unit which is taking care of motion control, also in future automotive solutions. So I think the structure right now is for the next at least 5-7 years fine. Then we will have to look at this whole subject again and see if the products change, if there is need for further changes. We had some R&D streamlining. I talked about the ADAS, which went from sensors to now having systems capability, and with our microcontroller, safety microcontroller solutions, which is done in ADAS. A lot of you know Dr. Draskov and Sudek and those guys. They're doing that in ADAS, but not only for ADAS, they're doing it for the rest of the division. And we have our center in Ingolstadt, which does hardware, the hardware part of the ECU, which is in the engine compartment somewhere, yeah? And all this water, dust, and stones. That's all done in Ingolstadt for the rest of the business unit. Okay, so that we will leave, and down there I said those issues we will centralize it. That I think we are set up nicely, and can talk now a little bit about connectivity, Helmut. Huh? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, colleagues, also a very warm welcome. Very good morning, very good evening, very good afternoon to all of us here. And Frank, you handed over pretty nicely. Vehicle, networking, and information. So also here, we see at first a new name. And this was clearly in order to adapt to the industry, to this trend. And as we have heard from Frank so much about autonomous, the big thing on the information management side, it is about networking, the vehicle networking. And therefore, you directly said, yes, we will hear something about connectivity. When we look up there, then you see that concerning business units, that there is a larger change. You might remember only 1 year ago, we have had 5 business units. End of last year, we brought already together commercial vehicle and aftermarket and ITS because we wanted to bundle the services all together. So therefore, no wonder that right now that business unit is called commercial vehicle and services, in order especially to point out this point. When you look about the other two, then you might know about the products of Interior. A large portfolio of different products, but you can summarize them a little bit. The largest family is instrument clusters, the big thing there. The other point is all around multimedia. This is where the heavy software business is in. And then, there where the volume is pretty high, this is around body controls with a lot of different facets. And now, all those things are merging. Products are changing. And so the one thing is that everything around body is becoming connected. An intelligent antenna module is not only embedding the things in the vehicle, it is also bringing the connectivity with all the antennas together, an intelligent antenna module. When you look to gateways, in former times we only took care about the bus in the car, now also to the infrastructure, so connected gateways. So therefore no wonder of merging them, the expertise of infotainment and connectivity, the connectivity portion, together with the body security towards connected car networking. So this is this passenger vehicle approach. The other point is all around the changes on instrument clusters. And this is that everything behind the steering wheel and in the mid-console is looked very strongly upon, combining those things together. And therefore, it is the whole holistic human-machine interface. Why do I use the term holistic here? Because we will be on the one hand in the vehicle in a driving mode, but also in a system observing mode once the things are running autonomously or automated. And this is why the whole human-machine interface needs to be taken care of. So we took the infotainment portion from IC, merged this together with the ID activities, and with that have the new business unit, human-machine interface. How that one is looking more in detail, I only want to take these changes on the aspect of the human-machine interface. You see up there instrument clusters. That market is a 5 billion market today. With this 20% reduction in CAGR, that means in 25, that market of instrument clusters will only be 1.2 billion euros. By the way, this is round about that sales ID is doing right now. So a drastic change. What is happening? These products, the instrument clusters, they are running towards full digital. But then when someone said, okay, good, then it is full digital, it's still a cluster. But it doesn't stop there. Because the electronics is becoming separated, so the functions are becoming separated. And the display is up there. By the way, that display business is growing up to a 10 billion euros market. And then this functionality is being brought to somewhere else. To where? It is combined with the electronics from multimedia, what we see down there, and this is leading that the new platform, the integrated interior platform, is brought into a new product across the main hub. So, and you see everything is changing. Yes, these growth rates are pretty high, 40%, but we need to acknowledge we are starting from some 100 million business right now. So therefore, the growth rates are high. In 2025, we expect this to be somewhere between a 1.5 billion business. But also other displays are growing, and this is on the basis when you look head-up displays towards augmented reality head-up displays. The mid-console being directly integrated to this, what is directly behind the steering wheel. So many changes going on there. So no wonder why we were coming up with that new setup. And a very similar thing I could bring around connected car networking, but I just spared this for today. How does this right now look in terms of people? So the point will be that connected car networking will be led by Hans Siebel. So no wonder when Andreas went to powertrain that then we prepared him already, so running right now both business units in parallel, and now we will merge this portion and bring the multimedia portion into the human-machine interface, which is being led and will be led by Frank Rabe. With commercial vehicles and services, we brought in right now Schilma Bier. And when you look right now to the different guys and their background, connectivity, body security for Hans, multimedia and clusters for Frank. Body security, IC know-how for Schilma Bier with a very strong affinity towards services. And so this is how also the people have been selected in the right manner going forward on this side. Now, there is another point when you look towards the central functions where you might say, yeah, you know this all pretty well. All the central functions are the same on the interior side, but when you look then there is one change. You might miss S&T with Carsten Michels, so he will go to Dirk. Same thing as it has been pointed out by Frank. And you find central engineering, Norbert Müller, because we bring all these synergies. What you see, and this is here predominantly on the business area of V&I, less links towards the AMS, and therefore we have said after several discussions, it would make more sense to use the synergies directly there where they arise. And this was why we have put this central engineering for these products on the side of V&I into V&I, the central engineering being led by Norbert Müller. How does that one look like? The point is here the following, that you see horizontally the disciplines. Software, of course, by far the largest area there, around about 50%, so almost 3,000 people. And then hardware, which is then also including the mechanical engineering that's in together, around about 1,000. And round about close to 2,000, this is in systems. Do we really have that many systems, guys? So systems engineering and systems testing is all in there, and so this is comprising these disciplines. Where I count the most on it is on this big gray one, the reusable modules. Because these are all these modules which are used across all the 3 business units and then are only developed once and being used, and this will provide competitiveness on this basis. And then we see for function clusters, by purpose, we use this name for it because we want to demonstrate the function orientation, and also process-wise, we will see more and more the agility process coming forward towards it, agile process. And these function clusters are the following. On the one hand, it is connectivity, as Frank pointed out, where all those things are necessary within. Then we have all the actuators, so actuators control as a second one on this basis. And then we have as the third one everything around access and tire information management, which is in there. And then the fourth one, which is missing, of course, body networking. This is the number 4 on this. When looking, what are the further things? I addressed already that S&T organization with Carsten Michels will directly go into the CTO organization. The IIP platform will be transferred into central engineering because this is this platform which is being used for the cross-domain hub. But I want to emphasize that already this strong work right now on the R&D community towards the search fields, to all the innovation on the basis, this is already running right now, as also Frank pointed out, with corporate S&T and the divisional S&Ts today. And this one will be used in the future even more, because we clearly see all the innovations, they don't take care about our organization. They just come as the industry want to have it. Another point also is on the basis that we do have a direct link of the leadership of the tech centers directly to Dirk's organization to put all the organization together in the right manner. And all the R&D heads, be it under central engineering or be it within the application side in the business units, they directly also do have this functional link, so the dotted reporting into the CTO automotive. And for PMT, exactly the same thing as Frank pointed out here, the tool chain definition, which is done within the CTO, and the execution of this, what is agreed upon within the BUs. For the plans, Frank showed it already. Only one thing I want to point out, you see the names directly there. We want to have a very strong collaboration between the project management and manufacturing. And this was exactly the reason why we went that way. One question came up in the slide already, which we saw pretty much. And this was on the basis why Guadalajara is split among 2 business units. The answer is there are 2 locations, as you see up there in the first line. Periférico, where all the instrument classes are in, and La Tijera, where all the electronics are in. When looking in a summary then we see that there are the 3 new business units right now, where we brought with the connected car networking, the expertise of IC connectivity and body security together. The human-machine interface, where we brought the expertise of infotainment from IC and ID together, and commercial vehicle and services, which we bundled already half a year ago. The new central engineering, which we are having within VNI, this is bundling the know-how, building the strong platforms. The plural is important there because, colleagues, we have platforms on different levels in different areas, and this is something I think where even more transparency is necessary to make this so clear through the entire organization, because this is the source for synergies. And with that new name right now, we focus to adapt to the industry trends according to our mission: information management in the vehicle and beyond. And you also know our strategy. We connect, we inform, and we integrate. Thank you very much, colleagues. For that, I would like to hand over how we bundle this all together within the area of the CTO organization. Dirk, come on stage, please.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks very much, Helmut. Really appreciate. I think I start with a very quick introduction like Nico, because some of you might simply not know me. So I start with a couple of words concerning my own as a person. I do have an engineering background, electrical engineering, with a PhD in digital communications, born and raised in Hamburg, and spent quite some time in Northern America, Boston area. My business experience is around 15 years plus in automotive industry, mainly OEM business, both corporate identity, premium German OEMs, as well as startup companies, especially in China and in US. And you see I somehow got stuck in the alphabet somewhere at the B's, like BMW, BPCE, BMWI, Byton, but now I make a big jump to C, like Continental. Okay, very quickly, I promised you I'm going to be back in my last webcast with a solid concept when the CTO organization is kind of in shape and I do have something to communicate. And well, here we are. I just would like to guide you through in terms of responsibilities. A couple of things have already been named by my colleagues Helmut and Frank. Thanks very much. And I just try to bundle them together in terms of quick statements, like future technologies, obviously the key word. Future technologies obviously is system technologies, and that means teamwork. And teamwork is exactly, we would like to encourage the cross-BA, cross-BU, cross-everything collaboration. That's what we need to give a long-term orientation. Bundled research and advanced engineering, I don't need to come back to what the two colleagues already said. Finally, it's just we try to build a focused automotive research and advanced engineering. That's the key point. Focus topics, just plain words, software, central architectures, the processor roadmaps in terms of building the framework and the basis for common synergies for the future. And of course, the high-performance computing platforms are one of the key elements for future technologies. Well, technology doesn't come alone as a standalone thing. It always comes along with business, at least it should. We'd like to earn money. So finally, we also need to identify what are new and future business opportunities. Just to give an example, the way of thinking in terms of technology and business models is totally different in hardware in comparison to software. So you start usually in hardware like, okay, that'll work like that, that doesn't work too bad, or a good solution, look at an idea. Okay, let's make an improvement that looks fantastic. Let's make a patent. Can we make use of the patent? Yes, maybe we can protect our solution. Software works exactly the other way around. First of all, you start with where I would like to kind of position your product. And then you come up with an idea and a strategy how to make IP, intellectual property, patents. And then you build a business model around it. And then you start making the product. So it's exactly the other way around. So that's also why we need to have a look at the business opportunities too. Electrobits, including Argus and the CES, are simply kind of CAS are fully signed, including the full P&L responsibility. They do have a very special role in this organization. Why? Because they're very special. One is, well, Electrobit simply is a certain independent brand. So we can sell, for example, software, and they do have experience with it. And some companies simply approach us and would like to buy software from Electrobit but not from Conti, because they might be competitors or other reasons. So it's simply kind of a value you'd like to keep. So that's why we keep them independent but still very integrated, and would like to also increase this integration into our organization. On the other hand side, those two companies, Electrobit and CAS, to a certain degree are kind of role models for us, because I would like to simply run a couple of pilot projects of new business, which all of us, like Helmut's and Frank's organization, and maybe even entire corporate teams, would like to put in place and simply kind of give it a test. And then you maybe don't want to kind of test it all the way along with entire Volkswagen Group, but you'd like to try it with maybe a smaller OEM. And then CAS is exactly the opportunity. So they do have a very special role to establish new business models, new technologies, and also new partnerships and working procedures. The CTO organization is given a mandate for PMT that has a couple of different aspects. Like, first of all, you need to define the processes, methods, and tools, but you also need to have a certain governance, simply make sure everything goes along and has a certain roadmap how to get there, because you can't swap tools like this. And of course, you need to have the tools in hand. Finally, the definition of tools is a very powerful means to get there. And finally, education is very important. Just think about the swap of our industry. We're moving from a hardware business to a hardware and software system business. And that's why education is very, very important and part of the PMT. Final point I just would like to make as a statement is the full empowerment and responsibility for tech centers. We have bundled all the tech centers into a solid line reporting to the CTO organization, simply to have a mean also to bundle together all the R&D which is spread across the entire world. For example, to encourage things like processes, methods, and tools, and simply make sure all of them have the same mindset and the same understanding of where we'd like to go, orientation. How does that look like? Here it is. So first of all, just go along the pillars very quickly because most of that has been in the previous statements already. R&A, you might recognize S&T is gone. S&T is not gone, but the notion is gone because, well, system and technology is something very many people do in this company, but what is characteristic for this group is they do research and advanced engineering. That's why I call it R&A. Well, we do have a very dedicated team for architectures and a customer team that doesn't replace COMS or whatever it is. It's a technician team, an engineering team, who is able to overall represent Continental as an entire one thing. Not for a single business unit, not for software or hardware, not for architecture or whatever, but to overall answer, discuss system questions. That is what actually all the OEMs are asking us for. So that's why we go for it. Electrobit goes in as it is, again with a couple of more mandates. So we'll develop Electrobit one by one and also try to harmonize their product portfolio into our Continental product portfolios because it really makes sense. So they will grow and also have a different mission, a slightly different mission. The CAS again goes in straight as it is today as well. PMT has been mentioned a couple of times, so I don't go into details. I think everybody is aware of that, processes, methods, and tools. Well, the CTO organization obviously is in charge of the technology roadmap. So we do need a certain activity in strategy and, of course, communications. Well, and of course, the partner functions like human relations, very important. We'd like to really attract and retain critical talents, and that is one of the key things for an innovation organization like the CTO organization. Finance and controlling, well, we are a finance-driven company. We'd like to earn money. That is important indeed, especially if we set up a new organization. Well, locations management, as I just mentioned earlier, the R&D locations, and what I haven't mentioned earlier is the R&D heads is a dotted line, as you can see around the last thing. Why? It absolutely makes sense to keep and stay in touch with the different R&D locations in serious production, to simply learn what's going wrong, what might be improved, what might be different in the future, and simply also to prepare if, for example, future technologies merge at some point in time. As Nico introduced at the very beginning, there's nothing more stable than the change. So finally, that concludes my presentation, and I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Dirk. You stay here.
Okay.
Stay here. So, thank you, Dirk, for the presentation. I would like to ask also Helmut, Frank, and Nico to join me here on stage, because now we still have some time left, which is good. I was a little bit afraid with all the presentations if we really have enough time to raise the different questions, but there is still some time, which is good. So I would like to start with the first question in the direction to Nico. We started now the communication with this first automotive webcast. What is your plan now to continue in the communication of the whole realignment until 2020?
I mean, as mentioned, in the whole complexity, and you've seen as well in the business situation where we are, communication is key. That's what we all agree. And not only communication having here now as a starting point in Frankfurt, but as well at the different other locations. So we decided that the next webcast we will do in Regensburg, most likely just around or after the IAA in September. It is a little bit of time from now on. On the other hand, we need as well enough meat in order to present what happens until then. So we will show up there. We will collect then all what has been coming up in the months. We see more what happens on the Unite side, and we come with more results. And then we go from there over time. And our idea is consistently having at different locations webcasts like this in order to inform on our road to 2020 and then forward how is this automotive organization development and how is as well at a certain point of time our business developing.
Okay, so let's get started with the questions. Do we have any questions from the audience here? Please just raise your hand. We have a flying mic, but also microphones in the room. So is there any question? We have one here in front. I will take it. I will throw it. Ah, not too bad.
Is this thing on? Okay.
Yes, it is on.
Okay, so my question is mostly to Helmut Maci. Could you please elaborate on what exactly the differentiating factor of the central engineering is? The sentence that you have up there basically described what I understood to be the previous job of the interior SMT. So,
okay. Yeah. So all the projects which are up there, so this is around 1,600 in total, and around about out of them 300 to 400 under a D3 status are at first running engineering-wise through this central engineering organization. So this is, and it's not about this only this innovation portion. It is about all the projects which will lead to products into production. And we have chosen here a solution that for CCN, we will have here what we call an all-in approach, that all the development is inside there, and only project lead is directly within the business units in order to make maximum reuse, platform, and standardization approach. Within HMI and within CVS, where we have much more application approach, here we mix. So that on the central engineering, it is more what within chassis is called the base development, so the platform basis, and then the application is directly done within the business unit. Why? Because these products are more visible, touchy, and so therefore different one from another.
Okay, I would continue. We have here a very nice favorite question with 150 likes.
And that fits perfectly to the question which we...
That's it. At the beginning of the year, you talked about a central R&D
powerhouse.
A powerhouse with about 12,000 engineers. Why are the majority of these engineers now in the respective divisions?
So I start with that because I'm really a neutral person which has seen this process now over months and as well in the last weeks. And we saw this process, this question several times. And I can tell you, as I already started on my chart at the beginning, the goal is really finding synergies, finding commonalities where it makes sense, because we create more benefit than we might lose by bringing functions from A to B. So, and at the beginning, there might be that we had different plans, and Helmut can just answer it, what the answer was then basically coming from Interior or later on V&I, that the decision was taking, I mean, once you use your synergies within one business area, why bringing this to a central place, which gets it more far away from the business and the projects. So for each of those, we have elaborated where that, and we have gone a little bit forth and back. You might say now, okay, can't you take a decision fast? Yes, we can. But if we find out of the process, listen, we look now into depth and we found out that breaking out communities, bringing from A to B, it's more efficient to do it there. Why should we do it just for the sake of having high numbers left and right? And the department or the engineering part, which Dirk has shown, is still a substantial amount of people. It's really a large department, and we brought everything in where everybody is convinced this belongs there and helps us to work further. And as said, if we find out over time that a certain portion, because products are changing, environment is changing, fits more into his organization, or parts of this organization comes back into areas, we would be more than open to do it.
Somebody else would like something to add, or?
I think I just would like to jump in. I think what's very important is to understand that we really kind of started with a dialogue about content and about facts, which I think is the most important thing to do. So we had all the different experts in really discussing back and forth what does it need to really make business and to improve business. And I really appreciated that because, and I think that's a positive sign, to simply say, well, we didn't know the answer before. Sometimes you just keeping busy, people already knowing what the answer will be. So we just got in and said, okay, let's keep the answer open, let's see what happens. But the key point, as Nico already mentioned earlier, is we need to focus what helps the company, because that's the key important thing. So finally, if you ask me, is everything we need to look out for the next generation technology and the methodologies we need to make this happen? The very clear answer is yes. We discussed that, and again, it's a balance. We don't have unlimited resources, so we need to handle our resources to run our business, earn our money, and at the same point in time to be innovative. You know, it's tough times, so we need to be very, very cautious with what we do now and later. So what you see is there's a certain transition. It's a journey. It's not going to be a bang and that's it. It's a journey, as Nico said at the very beginning. So we will have, for sure, technology going the one way and the other way. That's normal. So, for example, everything which is advanced technology today will be serious business a little later. That's normal. So my technology will go back to these two gentlemen. And the same thing is, well, if they've got a kind of good idea, and we need simply experts to simply kind of build up a small pilot project first to see whether technology works as a test. Then we just test it in the CTO organization. And if it works out, we grow it. So it's going to be transition, left hand, right hand, and I promise you, one of the big advantages of the automotive board is now we will regularly talk about this. So
that's the advantage of a board.
Okay, let's continue with another question. We received X domain clusters asked many times by our customers. In 8 of 10 requested, we ask about that. Why is there no commitment to do more between Babenhausen and Wetzlar in a project house? It's our future for cluster and autonomous driving.
Okay,
So I guess Helmut,
I might take that.
Yeah, you can take that.
So
yeah.
when you see this cross-domain cluster, this is exactly that product coming out of this IIP platform. And when right now doing those things, preparing that platform within the central engineering, then we did even more than the project house. We brought these disciplines together. We spoke about how horizontally software, hardware, system as disciplines are going through, and on that basis fully going up there. When looking towards Agile, yes, I want that we are even going forward, that migrating from today's project leaders, project managers, towards the way how product owners and how about the business owners moving forward, that we really live agile around the whole processes. It takes time, and this is the way how we are going forward.
The question to the audience. Any live question you would like to raise, just raise your hand. If not, I will continue. I do not see any hand, so we will continue. We see within R&D organization more cross-functions than we already have. Isn't it setting up more and more disciplinary silos? At the same time, we heard from Mr. Machi emphasizing on working in agile setup, for example, cross-functional team.
Yeah, I think this goes directly in line with this portion, what I said already, so therefore the answer, I think, is exactly on the same base.
Okay, let's go over to the strategy and positioning regarding autonomous driving. There's the question, what is Continental's strategy regarding autonomous driving? Frank, I think this is something you can
Yeah, I can
take.
talk about that. I mean, I'm just puzzled about this term you just mentioned, the functional silos there, disciplinary silos.
Cross-functional
I mean,
silos.
it's like you never get away from the silos.
That's the new one,
like
cross-functional silos. But you answered very nicely.
So everything you do is wrong because you will end up in silos. That is
Horizontal silos.
We have to be careful with that. But automated driving. Okay. We as future autonomous mobility and safety, current chassis and safety, come from subcomponents and components. So we focus first of all, that's where we grew up to, on components. ADAS, that's how autonomous driving starts with assist systems. We grew up with radars. Okay, so one of our strategy is to stay number one in our component business. We are clearly number one in radar, but we have to work hard to stay number one in radar. We want to be number one camera. We are not even close to be number one camera. Yeah? There is a competitor called Mobileye, which is clearly number one, and we are not there. So there's programs started with ramping up our AI know-how. We set up an AI center in Budapest together with our colleagues in Bangalore and Lindau to get, and I'm pretty convinced that our 5th generation camera will be at the level that we can compete with Mobileye, for example. So that's the component business. We also look at other sensors you need for automated driving, for example, LiDAR. We had an acquisition in California to have this high definition flash LiDAR principle, okay, so that we want to be number one component. But this thing is developing further, automated driving, from assisted to automated, level 2+, 3, 4, 5. We work from two directions. One is now the evolution of the assist systems to higher levels. One is directly driverless. Andre Holm is running these activities in currently chassis safety S&T, future ANR or RNA in the CT organization, where the Cube, you guys might in Frankfurt, you might have seen it driving around, the others might have seen it in the intranet, a self-driving vehicle where we do development of our technologies from really top down, or at its level 5 already. Yeah, we are not that strong in that overall system business yet. There is ECUs necessary and driving functions as the systems get more powerful. A radar and a camera alone will not do it, or a radar alone cannot do. An A radar, you can do ACC, you can do emergency brake assist, you can do different things. But if you want to now, let's see, pedestrians and stuff like that, it's already helpful to add a camera to it. But as more and more functions are added, you need more and more computing power, so you need a powerful ECU, what we call ADC, or assistant or automated driving control unit. There we have a cooperation with NVIDIA, because there is, if you look in the market, there is right now only 2, and since 2 weeks there's 3 microcontrollers out there which are really feasible to do this higher level of assist or automated driving functions. One is, as I just mentioned, NVIDIA. The other is Intel Mobileye combination. And the third one is this new Tesla chip, which is a pretty nifty design there, which are capable of doing those computing algorithms needed there. So we partnered with NVIDIA, and as you all heard in the past, we talked about VW Autobahn Pilot, and then VW changed their strategy, and now the VW is coming back to us, and we all going next week again to VW. It looks like we will in the future work intensively with VW. We won the ACP, the ECUs, that's how VW calls them, for they call it HPC Low and Park Pilot, so the Park Pilot functions, and that's a business of over 800 million euros in ECUs with those parking functions is already won for the others division. So this is the business we run in components on one side, developing evolutionary with our ECUs and driving functions toward higher levels, and on the research and advanced engineering side, those level 5 activities in our project house, in a nutshell.
Thank you, Frank.
Maybe the second one there, because we have this is what
yes,
we have not
we can
touched
take
yet,
the,
right?
the second one. Starting 2020, the new organization with a SAFE, which means Scaled Agile Framework, base development shall be initiated. As 2020 is not far away, and actually besides some rumors, there is no activity visible. Is this plan still feasible? That's the question. Who would like to go for it?
Timing is tough. It's tough. This is tough. When we simply look just the way back, not on Agile, but simply on ASPICE, how we are in, how often we delayed our ASPICE level 2. I even dare to say, what about the level 3? And so on this basis, I think the question is fully fair. Important is, as you have heard from us already, we want to go in that direction. The question is then the speed. Yes, always someone can do things faster and faster, but we also need to look in which way are we able to digest this within the overall organization.
But we have to be careful though that we do not lose speed. I mean, we have these activities in chassis as well. We have to name holistic engineering platform for it, but it's in the end we come to similar things where we said now there's all those discussions, shape and unite, and should we slow down before we do anything? Like we change again. No, guys. No. We keep on full speed doing that, and this will all go together then into the PMT organization with DIAC to make sure it gets continued. But we will not slow down those activities of standardizing our processes.
Good point.
Okay, if there is no question from the audience, is there any? We will continue here. There are lots more to come. Okay, when do we get the details on automotive org chart level 2 and 3, so downwards.
I mean
We
driving
saw the
more, huh?
first.
They mean organization-wise.
The automotive
I
org
know.
chart. So level 2, level 3. I think
I
it
guess the
goes a
question
little
is-
bit in direction of Dirk.
Yeah, I guess so, because I
Yes.
guess the level 2 and 3 scenarios in different divisions are pretty well known, and not too many changes. The Unite team is meeting regularly every week as a whole core team, and we've involved a couple of different workflows. So I see a lot of familiar faces right here in the room participating there. So we've got workflows around a dozen ones working on different subjects and involving, roughly speaking, 100 to 125 people regularly. So these guys are working out now the details. So first we wanted to make kind of a first and high level alignment. This alignment is done and communicated since today. And now we're kind of going through details. If you ask me what is kind of the current maturity level of our discussions, it's kind of, roughly speaking, I would say 60 to 70% for level 2 and level 3. But it will take us some time, as you know. For the last percentages, you need most of the effort to get them clarified. It's mainly a couple of different things, like especially the handshakes, as usual, interfaces between different teams. Of course, we need to go through a certain procedure of building, for example, all the meeting landscape. Like Nico has already introduced that for automotive, we need to do exactly the same thing for the CTO organization and go through the different meeting schedules, etc., etc., etc. All of that is part of the current Unite teamwork. And I guess we're going to be back in something like, well, I guess, Thorsten, we might simply go for a couple of updates with small casts, etc., to simply keep you up to date. And of course, I promise I will have details next webcast here.
So we need some content there too. That's good.
Promise.
Thank you. Thank you. So our customers and legal obligations raise the demand to deliver product security bug fixes until end of production plus 15 years. Will the continuous bug fix delivery of software be handled by the new automotive R&D organization?
So here we really learned a lot out of the business from Electrobit, because this difference between the engineering portion of a new given product software and the maintenance business. And so this is much more related to that one. So as the business units are doing their business, so it is then also the portion to keep up with this. Could be that in today's basis, these things are running via change requests, or that with OEMs, new business models are set up driving forward towards it. But this means when there where the ownership of the business is, it is also clear to take care to maintain the product.
And to complement, so obviously we tried to build in a couple of these features, security features, etc., into the platform. And of course, the platform is continuously moving forward too. So whenever platform updates simply kind of are available, of course, they will run into the businesses and will be given to the customers. So in the end, the R&D organization will be a certain backbone, but the primary business with the customers, of course, will be done in the business areas.
And now look for a moment. When typically in a vehicle, we can have, like it is in Daimler, around about 20, 25 different electronics. And when an update needs to be done because of a vulnerability, it needs to be done in all the different ECUs, which might be today in round about 6, 7 business units. And this is exactly where then sharing, reusing the things does make the difference. And therefore what you see right now, what we have presented today, is the start of this change in this direction, and then continuously moving forward as the industry will require it. Nico said it very clearly on this basis, starting with something and then continuously going further on.
Okay, thank you. We have one live question here.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Just talk.
All right.
No,
Take
no,
it,
no.
it works.
Okay. At the risk of making myself even more unpopular. So it's a good segue from what you last said, Helmut, and common services, diagnosis, over-the-air flashing. Is that going to be a CTO organization type deal? But also one important thing, safety management and security management. Are those also going to be installed in the central area, or how is it going to be handled? Because these are big topics where we need to invest, or we already have invested a lot of time and effort. And so, question. Thanks.
To me, that is a hybrid approach. So to a certain degree, again, we need to maintain our business. Currently, we do have our products right in the market, And as you stated very correctly, we do have all the different business units running their system solutions, etc. So currently, there's a large heterogeneity of the system architectures and even the interfaces and solutions for what look totally different, as Helmut just mentioned. So overall, we can't jump from today to, okay, we make it a platform and then just have one solution. We just need to grow that one by one. So what will be, most probably, it's going to be a distributed system. We still need to fix the current situations and the current solutions. You can't avoid that. So we need to run after it with manpower, so that scales. At the same point in time, we should start today. As Frank mentioned, we start today with full power to build the solutions of future technologies. And of course, we make sure that the platforms of future technologies have a common solution. So you see, it's a hybrid, still fixing the current business and running for the new. Frank, you would like to?
I mean, we have to be careful. There's a lot of, we can go in a lot of details right now, yeah? On one hand, we have Electrobit bringing standard solutions for everybody. And they're supposed to be bringing standard software not only for former budding security, but also for VED or for PSS, regardless, standard common approaches. And he has to make sure in our architectures that we take care of the safety, security of over-the-air updates and all those things. But that we will have to detail out. But be assured there will be commonality there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I already have a volunteer for the next question. With Project Unite, how exactly is the automotive management planning to break the silos, your favorite word, that exists especially in software? In VED, body and security, Electrobit, there are a lot of silos existing for the same type of software development.
Guys, I mean, this is something with the silos. There's silos everywhere, okay? Everywhere. I looked, when we have our basic live, there's one question, how is to work with the other department? And very negative, if you go in those areas, it is that the engineering group doesn't work with the test group doesn't work with the disaster or whatever, you know. It's in a business unit, so in that big bad business unit silo, there's all those small silos, you know. Now, you can call everything a silo, and we have to be very careful here. Very careful. The issue with software, I just explained it. VED is Electrobit is supposed to make standard components, whatever, AUTOSAR, Comstack, or whatever, which are then distributed as a component supplier, if you want, a software component supplier, distributed to the users in the business units. Now, they do different types of software. It's all embedded, I said it earlier, but different types. It's different if you do algorithms for controlling the stability of a car, or if you have a point cloud from a radar and you have to detect the object out of it, or you have to display some things in a whatever 3D format on some display. All different tasks. They all use in the future the same tools, the same process, the same methodology. That's how we bring that together, okay? To create another silo by putting all software guys behind that, all software guys in one big room, say we have a big software silo now, does not make anything better, okay guys? Because then the system which needs the software is separated from the guys. So,
good. But the general question, to put this into perspective, is how to improve the quality of our software development.
We have to standardize that. We have to really train our people. We have to get the quality of our tools, also from Electrobit tools for AUTOSAR higher. We have to work on all kinds of fronts in that arena.
And this will be a big task. And in my 56 days, or how many it was?
60.
60.
58.
58, okay, yeah. 2 days already, Monday and Tuesday. I mean, this is the overwhelming feedback which I get as well from the organization. I mean, hardware we are doing since long, but on the software side, clearly when it comes to quality, we have to, and we have lots of ideas to do it, but we have to do it commonly. Of course, not in silos, but as a common organization, making sure that we get through. However, to have dedicated teams, and that's what we mentioned, please don't call a dedicated team which is fighting for business always a silo. There is nothing against a good team fighting for things, as long as you see, you work in standards, you know what's happening left and right, and you work in the favor of a common, strong organization. That is, I think, to put this.
I would like to talk about the cross-divisional silos again. No, just coming back to that. So I guess the most important point is, to me, fully agree with what Frank and Nico are saying. The main point to me is, if you just look into kind of the structure today, so we've gone through a couple of different ECUs and simply kind of see how the software stack, for example, builds up. And it's simply not the same. And it starts with the interfaces, and the proportions of the different software portions are not the same. So you simply can't plug and play, not even plug and pray. It simply doesn't work. So the main point is, not to have a platform and to run a platform. The main job is to get there, and that is our task, and that's the transition.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for the power. You felt the power, so we want to empower automotive technology, so we can feel it. So thank you very much. The open questions, which we still have here, we will answer within due course, and we will publish the answer on the intranet site. We will start communication on an automotive level. Yeah, so we created our own intranet page for the automotive topics. You will find the presentations and everything on there. And we will share the recording of this webcast also by tomorrow. So whoever was not able to attend this webcast live here or in the offices, or because they had a meeting or whatever, you will be able to watch what we talked today in the recording. So I would like to say, let's get ready together, jump on the boat, get on board to empower the new automotive technologies by 2020. I would like to thank you, Dirk. I would like to thank you, Helmut, Nico, and also Frank, for being available here, and also thank you for your patience, for your attendance, for your questions, and also thank you on the screens, and see you latest in September with a new automotive or another automotive webcast in Regensburg. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nico.